Yes, the sound of circular delays decaying into infinity. Compliments of this magnificent vintage studio tool known as the Lexicon PCM-70, a highly regarded reverberation unit, but also capable of beautiful, lush stereo delays, modulations, choruses, flanges, and some other trickery that we won't get into here. So I used this all over the track you just heard. Mainly to create these unique spaces and to give depth to the various different parts. If you listen to the track, it's sort of like a 60s style, kind of Beatlesy bit with some shred at the end, of course, as is customary. So yeah, these parts, I had to give them sort of unique character since they're all sort of these voxy, sort of narrow parts, and this does an incredible job of creating unique depth for each part, and we're going to break it down track by track and see how I used it in the mix. So the first track we're going to listen to is sort of a melody rhythm hybrid part in the first section of the song, and we used the concert hall and the dual delay to create a unique space for this part to sit in. So let's go ahead and listen to the dry part. And now we're going to listen to that part again, and we're going to apply the concert hall reverberation and then the dual delay. And we'll listen to that. In this next part, we're going to listen to the background guitars in the first part of the first section of the song that are behind the main melody. And what I did is I took these two parts, panned left and right, and I used one track of rich chamber to sort of glue them together and allow them to occupy their own space, sort of separate from the main melody. So let's listen to that. All right, now we're going to listen to this chimey part that's outlining the chords in the second half of the first section of the song. So I wanted to create sort of an exaggerated sense of depth with this one, but I also wanted clarity, and I wanted it to exist in a separate space from the guitar part that's in the middle, which has changed from that sort of melodic part to more of a chord part, right? So what I did is I panned the guitar part to the right, and then I used the gymnasium preset and a delay on the other side of the mix. So you sort of have this movement, and you have like this exaggerated sense of stereo depth. I'm going to keep using that word a lot because that's what we're doing, is creating depth and unique spaces is really what it's about too. And then to kind of glue that together, I used a stereo flanger. So that sort of left to right, right to left movement is all sort of glued together, but it leaves a nice space in the middle for that chord part to keep playing. So let's listen to it dry. And now we're going to apply the effects to it. It's about to get real jangly in here, y'all. This next part's like a 60s Vox vibe, so let's listen to that dry guitar sound. Now, as you can tell, it's sort of a focused rhythm melody hybrid part, and you know, it's sort of a skinny guitar part, but the idea here with this center pan part is to really illustrate how well these lexicon effects just wrap around a core sound, right? And they just put it in a unique space and create this depth. So we're going to hear some really lush hall verb and chorus applied to this part. So let's listen to that. All right, now we're at the final section of the song where things start to get heavy. So we're going to listen to these rhythm guitar parts that are panned hard left and right. And what I did for these is I applied a small room verb. It's actually called small room. That's the name of the preset. And it's meant to be kind of subtle. Like, the track sounds great without it, but it also sounds cool with it. And the idea is to put that part in a unique space to create this subtle depth. And I think that helps separate it from the lead part, which is very exaggerated in terms of the effects I put on it. So let's listen to that dry and with the effect applied, and I'll turn it off and on so you can kind of compare and contrast. It's a subtle effect, but it works really well. It's time for lead guitar. I'm sure if I had put a timestamp somewhere in the description that just said lead guitar, most of you would have just clicked on this, because this is what most people want. They want to slather some shmoo all over some shred bits. So let's get to it. Let's listen to our lead sound dry. Okay, now we're going to apply the ever-famous circular delay, made wildly cool by Steve Lukather. This creates a swirling three-dimensional space around the note. It's just really cool, very distinct, and nothing else does it quite like the Lexicon PCM-70. So let's hear that lead sound with just the circular delay added. Okay, now we're going to add the whole shebang to it. We're going to do the circular delay, the rich chamber, and the stereo flanger. And this is meant to be over the top. I didn't get too heavy-handed with it, but it's heavy-handed enough. So let's listen to that. You know how in the beginning of the movie Saw, everything sort of just starts out in this tiled room, and it's really sort of garish and dramatic? Well, that's what I did with the entire drum bus. I took it and I dumped it into the Lexicon PCM-70 version 2.0 firmware tile room, the ever-popular chef's kiss of room verbs. And it's obvious, it's very 80s, but it's super duper cool. So let's listen to the drum track with the dry, and then with the tile room applied. Here we go. As always, folks, thanks for hanging out with me and thanks for supporting the channel. I had a lot of fun putting this video together. PCM-70 is a really fun, great studio tool, keeps me inspired. I think I'll probably make a follow-up video where I just play guitar and try out all the different presets, maybe even like stack multiple presets together. I think that's what a lot of people who probably watch this really wanted, was to just hear guitar through PCM-70 presets. So I'll do that next. Let me know in the comments what you want to hear, if there's anything specific you want me to check out with these Lexicon units. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'll catch y'all next time. Yeah!